Tools of the Trade Tuesday, and we have a lot of golf shafts to pull and all kinds of them to pull. Get ready, fast and furious. This one's going to be showing you again how to pull different shafts out of different situations. Welcome back to the McGolf shop and Tools of the Trade Tuesday, and of course we still have a lot going on, and people are sending me clubs to fix now, which is a fabulous thing. Thank you very much, guys and gals. And I have a Big Bertha 2 fairway wood. Let me get there you go, Big Bertha. See the big deal here? It is a bore through. Okay, it's a bore through shaft pull. We also have adapter pulls, and I believe, yep, and we also have a regular shaft pull. So it's going to be really quick, very furious, because I could do a video on each one of these, okay? So we're going to do them all. I'm going to talk into detail. Maybe I'll just split them up. We'll just see how this goes. We're just going to go with it. So first things first, we're going to deal with this one. So the pulling a bore through, biggest thing is we still have to fix that. So the pulling of the shaft is really not the big deal, but the putting it back in is, and that will be the next one after, okay? So these are just about pulling shafts. So what's unique about this one? Well, back in the day, it didn't used to have this big ferrule that was on there. It just went straight in and had a little bitty, almost looked like an O-ring. And what was happening was golfers were actually hitting in this area, in the neck area, or what would be the neck area, and it was snapping shafts. And so to fix that, they put a big old plastic buffer piece right in there, and voila, a better golf club. Unique one about this on bore through is I need a special tool, Tools of Trade Tuesday. Again, my little polyurethane milled piece, and what that does, it slides over the end, and it goes right on over here, and it acts as the buffer to pull so I don't dent the top of the head with my shaft puller. Okay, so that's what this does. So we're going to heat this particular area here, this area here, and go really quick on this, and then we're going to go really quick on this area up here in order to get the heat going around, because this is where all the glue is, and we need to get that off of there. Okay, so we're using the butane torch again, and just like we told you, and you see I'm going up and down the back side of the club, and then what I do is I tend to go around the tip area. And I'll keep the heat going, then on the top like we talked about. Keep it moving fast. I spend a little more time on this one because it's so thick. Okay, let's put it in here. Let's see if we can't get this to come out on the first pull. Okay, sometimes you need a little bit more heat. Alright, let's try that and put it in there. There it goes. And voila, there you are. So, pulled out. It's not clean yet. No dents or extra dings or any of that other stuff. Now we got to use the hosel brush. Using the hosel brush after every one of these pulls is almost a necessity to make sure you get all the crud that's out of there. nice and clean. Okay, and we just got to put the other shaft in it, which is the next one. This is just a shaft pull. All right, we just did the bore through, pull through. Bore through, pull through. Man, that works. Bore through, pull through. Now we're going to take a tip adapter off. All right, this is a Titleist tip adapter for a hybrid. It has a slightly different shape in that you see where it starts getting a bit of a chamfer right here, but this is where the ferrule is actually at. On the driver one, this is much smaller and this is much longer, but this is also bigger around, all right, because it takes a 370 tip versus a 335. Now, what's the deal here with this? Well, number one is you got to take the ferrule off just like we do everything else. So I'm going to heat this thing up and I'm going to pull this thing off, and then we got to play heat here. Now the trick in every last one of these types of adapters is most of the time they're made out of aluminum, okay? And when they're made out of aluminum, that means that this paint on here is basically anodized in. And if you get this thing too hot, what'll happen is it'll speckle it, is the best way to put it, meaning that the paint will come off. And if you want to do a professional job, it's kind of a minimal amount of heat. And because it is aluminum, it does transmit heat pretty good, so you don't need to do that 15 to 20 second each side like I show you when I pull the other ones. Much like the bore through took a lot more, this one will take a lot less. If you haven't noticed, I'm still using the gloves, and that's always a good thing. Okay, just got to get around and get this ferrule real quick. And we press down and pull back because we still like the shaft. And these typically have collars on them, so you want to make sure it comes out. All right, so we got that gone. Now let's talk about this. Now in the past I've shown you where you can put a screw right in here and pull out, and what happens is I put the adapter piece in here. But because this one has such a really good shoulder, I'm going to pull it just like it was a regular club. All right, so you notice I just went around that one 20 seconds. And maybe another 20 seconds there. And into the shaft puller it goes. Let's see if we can't make this work too. And out it comes. And again, got to clean out the inside of it because this is the piece we want. And now it's nice and clean. So there's another one for another shaft to pull. So what we just did was you had a piece in there that was like that. You don't need to hurt the head because all it's doing is blocking the heat from getting to this. And you put the heat on that, pull it out, and you're doing another reshaft. And then the best part here is once you determine the settings, you can put them in there, and then you can balance the club just in the proper settings, and then you're good to go. And on to the third, and not necessarily the final type of pull, but it is one of the more common. And this one has no special tip, it has no special adapter, it is just basically glued straight in, okay? And sometimes these can be problematic, but we're going to show you the right way of getting her done. Again, we're going to remove the ferrule, and then we're going to heat the hosel 20 seconds in 3 different areas, put it in the shaft puller, and away you go. Okay, on this one, it doesn't take very long to get to these ferrules. You're not trying to melt them off. What you're trying to do is heat up the ferrule between, or the end of the hosel and the beginning of the ferrule. And then that way, it comes off easy. Okay, so here's what the resultant part of that ferrule is, and now we're going to heat up the club head. Now, like I said again, the tip of this just needs to be barely touching. That's where the hot is. You don't want to get into it because that doesn't do anything, and you don't want to be too far away because that means it's too cold. Now, we'll talk about shaft pullers in another time, but there are so many different kinds out there, and each one of them takes a little different approach in order to be able to pull things out. And that's the reason why I like this one. This hydraulic puller is a Mac Daddy. Okay, see how easy that one came out? All right, and then we hit it with the and again, you can see in there, nothing. And this is where a lot of the new club makers will fail, is not taking the time to do this 2 or 3 times in order to ensure that there's no junk in there. Because if you have any a little bit, all that is one more place for that epoxy not to bond. So you need to make sure that's nice and clean. Don't be afraid to take 2 or 3 shots at this. And you keep knocking it down until stuff stops coming out. Okay, so that was the just a regular old shaft pull, and so we went through a bore through, and a tip adapter, and a regular one just that quick. And don't, always clean it out, and if you have to do any cleaning on this part, go ahead and do that as part of the shaft pull. And next time we do this, you'll see on the tools of the trade is we will talk about how we put the stuff back in. So if you like what you saw, how about liking the video? And subscribe if you want to see me put these guys back together. And overall, let's see your scores go low.